And this is Finesse News here at Launchup Las Vegas #3, what they call a barn raising for startups. And we're here with Tony Hsieh, CEO of Zappos, and our first speaker here at Launchup Las Vegas. What are you going to be speaking on tonight, Tony?
I was actually thinking I'd leave it more time to Q&A, so I'll just give a really quick, you know, overview of my history in terms of startups, and then to answer questions.
Very
I've
nice.
actually never. This is my first time at an event, so I actually don't know what to expect.
What's maybe one piece of advice you would give to startups here in Las Vegas?
I'd say make sure that whatever you're doing, you're not doing it for the money, but you're doing it because you're passionate about it, and it's that passion that's going to get you through the tough times, and that passion that's going to rub off onto employees and customers and business partners and so on. Uh, so kind of ironically, if you're doing stuff because you're passionate about it, I think it will actually greatly increase your chances of making more money. I guess my advice to entrepreneurs is figure out what you're so passionate about doing that you'd be happy doing it for 10 years, even if you never made any money from it. And that's what you should be doing. And if you're so into it and so passionate about it, the money part is kind of secondary.
I know Delivering Happiness is your book, and it was on the New York Times bestseller list for 27 consecutive weeks. What's a main message you give in your book, Delivering Happiness?
Um, I guess pretty similar type of stuff. Just be true to yourself. There's some advice for startups or companies in general that we kind of stumbled into at Zappos, but has also been verified by research to actually be good long-term business strategies. So things like making sure you focus on company culture and don't lose sight of that. And companies with strong cultures tend to outperform companies that don't have strong cultures in the long run. And making sure that your company has a vision that has a higher purpose beyond just money, profits, or being number one in market. And again, the research has shown that if companies that have this higher purpose that's about more than profits actually end up generating more profits than their peers or competitors.
What's one of your favorite things about the startup community here in the Vegas tech community?
I think what I really like is that everyone just wants to help everyone else. They want to contribute to the community, and that's I haven't experienced quite that same vibe anywhere else.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Any more questions? Well, hopefully we'll be covered in the Q&A, and pay attention, and we're going to go there next. Thanks so much, Tony.
Right, thank you. For me, I guess I really think about what led me to Zappos. I started in the pizza business, actually. This was in college. I was running a pizza business on the ground floor of our dorm. We had about 300 students in our dorm, and my roommate Sanjay and I were responsible for ordering for actually everything in the pizza business. We invested in the pizza ovens. We hired employees that were basically other students. We dealt with the suppliers, and a lot of times I was actually making the pizzas myself. And this guy named Alfred, who later on ended up becoming our CFO at Zappos, he would stop by this is actually how we met. He would stop by every night and order a large pepperoni pizza from me, which wasn't really that strange because I had heard about Alfred's reputation for eating a lot. He had nicknames like Human Trash Compactor, Monster, and so on. And later when we were friends, actually, I ended up witnessing this myself. There'd be like 10 of us late night at a Chinese restaurant somewhere, and he would literally finish everyone's leftovers. So not that weird, he would order a large pepperoni pizza every night, but then sometimes a few hours later, he would come back and order another large pepperoni pizza from me. And I was thinking, okay, maybe he's pulling an all-nighter or skipped breakfast or something. Well, I found out several years later, Alfred was taking the pizzas upstairs and selling them off by the slice. So that's why he became our CFO at Zappos. So after the pizza business, the same roommate that I was running the pizza business with, he and I started an internet company called Link Exchange. We specialize in online advertising. This was back in '96 during the early, the first .com boom. Grew that to about 100 people and ended up selling the company to Microsoft 2.5 years later. But what a lot of people don't know is the real reason why we ended up selling the company. And the real reason is because it just ended up not being a fun place to work at anymore. And the company culture just went completely downhill. I remember when it was just 5 or 10 of us, it was actually a lot of fun. It was your typical startup. We were working around the clock, sleeping under our desks, had no idea what day of the week it was, but super exciting as we started gaining traction and growing and so on. And we started hiring friends and friends of friends. And this whole strategy of hiring friends and friends of friends actually worked really well for us until we got to about 20 people. And then we basically ran into a really big problem, and the problem was we ran out of friends. So I think it ended up doing a decent job in terms of hiring people with the right skill sets and experiences, but we didn't know any better to pay attention to company culture. And not everyone we hired was great for our culture, and it was one of those things where we didn't know any better, and so our investors at the time said, oh, this person is going to add a lot of value to your company and has a lot of experience and is really smart. And in our kind of gut, we were like, okay, that doesn't feel quite right, but you have a lot more experience, so we'll trust you. And we made that mistake a number of times, and then eventually got to the point where I myself dreaded getting out of bed in the morning to go to my own company, which was definitely a really weird feeling, and hopefully something that all of you can avoid by making sure that you do always pay attention to company culture. It's something that needs to be actively managed, and it's that you're always thinking about and don't want to make compromises. So the question is, when Amazon was courting us, what things did they do to convince they wouldn't destroy our culture? So the Amazon acquisition, it was over 2 years ago that Amazon acquired us, is actually very different from most acquisitions that Amazon has done. In most of their other acquisitions, the plan is to integrate the company being acquired into the parent company, and then over time the original company kind of loses its identity and joins the mothership. And for us, we told Amazon the only way we would even consider doing the deal is if Zappos could remain independent, if we can continue to grow our brand, our culture, our way of doing business, our way. And from our point of view, it was basically as if we swapped out our board of directors for a new one. So instead of flying to San Francisco once a quarter for a board meeting, fly to Seattle once a quarter for a 2-hour meeting. And that's pretty much the extent of my interaction with Amazon. So happy to report that they've stayed true to their word. I think one thing that really helped is we actually have an actual document that talks about that spells that out in writing. And so it's one of those things where I can always point back to that and say, this is what we agreed to. To me, what I'm excited about for downtown Vegas, whether it's Vegas Tech or the small business community in Vegas and all the other stuff going on in Vegas, is there's much more of a communal feeling to what we're doing, and people wanting to help each other out. It's kind of the opposite of kill the competition. It's like, let's all help each other out, and to me that's really exciting. That's what makes it's not about let's create another Austin or San Francisco or Silicon Valley. Let's create something that's amazing and doesn't exist anywhere else in the world, and let's make Vegas the most community-focused large city in the world. And I think we have the seeds of it here, and we just need to all make it happen. So that's time. Thank you.